Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And a special thank you to those representing the State Sheriff's Association that are here today, and of course, by extension, law enforcement, representing law enforcement throughout New York and the job that they do. Many of you know my background's in law enforcement. I was a New York State trooper, and I was the sheriff of Erie County. You may not know, my father was a state trooper, my brother was a state trooper, and my uncle was a state trooper. I come from a law enforcement family, and I am very, very proud of it. I'm even prouder in these times to have men and women in law enforcement, like those represented here today, continue to stand up and defend their communities, to continue to stand up and do their best to protect their communities in the face of what we've seen. Professionally, in the job I do now professionally as a criminal justice professional, also with a master's degree in criminal justice, and as a citizen, I am dismayed and disheartened by what I've seen in the last year and a half. The last year and a half, as Senator Ort has mentioned, what we have seen is a complete reversal of what we're supposed to be seeing. We have seen the enactment of law after law after law that has favored offenders over law-abiding citizens, over law-abiding New Yorkers, and over our communities. And now what we've seen in the past several weeks, even beyond that, is the attacks on law enforcement, the unwarranted, unprovoked attacks on law enforcement. It should matter to everybody, not just the police officer, but everybody in every single community. We look across the state and we see the violent criminals that have been let out because of so-called bail reform. We've seen an offender, a repeated felon, say publicly, how could they release somebody like me? What were they thinking? And we see it time and time again in every single community. We've seen people cheering the release of cop killers. We look during this pandemic and we see the looters and the rioters arrested, like they should be arrested for that, only to be set free to go and do more harm. A 1-year-old baby dead, shot in the midst of all of this violence, and the attacks on police still continue. The bloodied faces of law enforcement. Senator Jordan mentioned New York Police Department's highest-ranking uniform official attacked while trying to protect the community. It's outrageous. It is completely outrageous. So not only do we have to reverse this whole sentiment, the things coming out of this state capitol where they're favoring offenders over law-abiding citizens, we have to stop the attacks on law enforcement. New York State Police, or the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, many years ago, instituted an accreditation program. And what that is it's a compilation of all of the best practices and policies that if a police agency meets, they get this great certificate to hang on their wall. But what it really says to their community is they have met the highest of standards as it deals with use of force, as it deals with pursuit policy, as it deals with the implementation of many, many different things, and training, and professionalism, and hiring, and accountability. In the majority of police agencies in the state, the majority of sheriff's offices in the state are accredited. New York State has said they've met the highest standards. And for the lawmakers and the governor to ignore the fact that this pursuit of professionalism by law enforcement in New York State has been a continuous process. The professionals represented here today dedicated their lives to enhancing that professionalism as they protect their communities. It's just disgraceful. So, we're starting this today with a package that the state sheriffs have worked hard at putting together and recommending and working hand in hand with our conference to better protect our law enforcement officers across the state. And why does it matter? Not just to protect them, but to protect all of us.